everybody is different and nobody is me. And comparing myself to other people is a complete waste of time. Any kind of prolonged social media time gave me so much anxiety and borderline depression. Alrighty, hello everybody. I hope you guys are doing great today. It's a lovely day. Whoever's watching this, you're alive, you woke up this morning, you're successful, you woke up today. Period. Let's just count it at that. For all of you who are tuning in today, I actually just want to share a few things that I learned this week that I believe were very crucial for me, even though I feel like I've learned these things many times, but these finally kind of sunk in a little bit more. But really quick, if you do enjoy this channel, if you do enjoy my talking and my lessons and all of the blabbing that I like to do and enjoy to do, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like and hit that subscribe button, and also let me know any lessons that you have learned this week, because I love learning and I want to know more too. So very selfish thing, I know. So first thing I learned is phone scrolling through social media made me very anxious that day, and even if I only did a little bit in the morning. I've noticed that any kind of prolonged social media time, just scrolling through everything and getting that dopamine rush, gave me so much anxiety and borderline depression through that entire day. I actually did a little bit of an experiment. So for 3 days straight earlier this week, that's what I was doing every single morning. Mind you, this last week, there was no different factors through the day whatsoever. Everything was pretty steady, calm and steady. So through these 3 days, I did notice that towards like the middle of the day, perhaps like the end of the day, I started feeling so much disgusting anxiety. I felt borderline depressed. It was pretty awful, honestly. And then the following day, basically what I did is I did not look at any kind of social media whatsoever, nothing like that, no Instagram, no scrolling, nothing. And I noticed that through that day, again, there was no other changed variables in these 3 days. There was just that one change. Everything else I ate, everything I did, fairly normal, fairly the same. And that fourth day, I noticed at the end of the day, I felt fine. I emotionally and mentally felt fine. There was no problem. There was no issues. I actually felt really good. And so there was no anxiety. There was no borderline depression. Everything felt really freaking amazing. So yes, that's what I discovered for myself, is that scrolling sucks. It really makes me very anxious and very depressed at the end of the day. And I just did not like how I was feeling, honestly. So basically that is one of the lessons that I learned. The other lesson that I learned, that too much information or knowledge in a very small period of time gives me analysis paralysis. Now, I don't know if any of you have the same thing, but for me, I personally experienced this where every day I was watching a podcast for a certain period of time, and podcasts are great. I love them. I watch them, like I said, pretty constantly, but I watch them every single day, multiple times a day. And after I think it was like a week or two of doing this every single day, my brain felt like mush. It was just too much overwhelming sensations for my mind, because I did not give it any time to digest or process any of the information that I learned. So yeah, analysis paralysis, real freaking thing, at least for me anyway. And I would like to reiterate, all these things are my experiences, and if y'all experience them, feel free to share. I would love to know what your experience has been. And if you haven't experienced it, well, that's freaking great. I love that for you, honestly. Like, I wish. I wish, right? Next lesson, and it was men and women are way too different. So comparing one to the other and what we can do, what they can do, is absolutely pointless, because men can easily do things better in some areas than women. 100%. There's no ifs or doubts about it. And women, we absolutely can do some things way better than most men. Absolutely no ifs, ands, or doubts about it. Absolutely. One of the things, for example, is intuition. Women, on average, have a much stronger intuition than men, because we have a portal through our legs that literally creates life. And there are things like, for example, physical strength. Men on average are physically stronger than most women. So there's no reason to compare ourselves to one another because, like, for example, men don't go through menstrual cycles and they don't have to deal with several days out of the month where they can't really do much, right? They just have to deal with their own stuff. For example, if women are in their week before their period, that's a really rough time. And so men don't have to deal with that. They have one circadian rhythm. Women have the circadian rhythm and the menstrual cycle. We have two rhythms. I understand that. I'm totally okay with that. It finally dawned on me that I don't have to compare myself to my significant other because there's literally things that go through my body that he will never experience. And that's okay. And then there's things that he experiences that more than likely I will never experience either, and or will never experience either, or don't want to experience either. There's no reason to compare women and men because we are so beautifully different and we need to stay that way. And there's no need to be like one another at all whatsoever because we all have our own place under the sun. And they're both beautiful and they're both necessary. And not one is better than the other, in my opinion. And that is my fact. So there's that. Next, I learned that everybody is different and nobody is me, and comparing myself to other people is a complete waste of time because there's nobody like me and there's nobody like you. There's nobody like my significant others. There's nobody like my mom. There's nobody like my friends. Every single person is so individual. That's beautiful. That's great. But nobody is me and I am not them. So just because I can't do something and they can, that doesn't make me any worse or better of a person. That's just not my path. I can do that because that's them. I can do this because that's me. Honestly, that was very profound. That was very profound for me because it's very true. And playing the comparison game, comparing strawberries to bananas is so stupid. Like, why are we even doing that? Why was I even doing that? It's so insane. Comparison is such a thief of joy, and I feel like I do it many times, and I feel like we as a collective also do it so often, and it's just such bogus. It's just so completely unnecessary because nobody will ever be like me and nobody will ever be like you, ever. You are and I am one individual with that one individuality forever. Nobody will ever be like me. No one will ever be like you. And comparing each other is less and useless because everyone's different. And everyone can do different things, and we can never all be like each other because that would destroy individuality and our own beautiful uniqueness. That was one of my favorite things, I feel like. Next thing was that schedules won't always work out if your intuition is telling you to do something else that will benefit more. Now, this was very important to me, I would say, because I gave myself such a rigid and strict schedule this week that I absolutely had to follow. And the only reason I had to follow it is because my ego was blowing through the roof. Okay, it was the only reason, because I have to get this done and I have to get this done now. And my ego was giving me a chokehold. And my intuition was telling me, hey, this is not something you should do today because it's not going to work out. We need to do something different. Like, we need to do something else on the schedule instead. And most of the week I actually did listen to it, but the other parts should have. And I found out why when I didn't. Basically, that's what I learned. Schedules, like, that kind of leads into the next thing, which is being flexible in life makes life so much easier. So if my intuition is telling me to do something else that is not following the schedule that I made, I need to do what my intuition is telling me, because schedules mean nothing if I'm not following my true path and purpose, I believe. But for me personally, I found out that when I don't listen to my higher self, life becomes harder and more difficult, and I feel like I am flowing upstream against the current, which I'm sure many of us have experienced this from time to time again. It sucks. It really, really sucks flowing against the stream, because you're just putting in effort where you don't even need to, because there's something so much easier, and this can become too later. Focus on something else now that is coming easier, and then that will take its course. Really, that's simple. And the thing is, it is all simple. It's very simple. I feel like I just make it hard sometimes, and I feel like many people are in the same boat. They just make it hard. We get in our own way. We are our biggest problem when it comes to getting anything done. And that's just my personal belief. I truly do believe that I can get anything done if I don't stand in my own way. Abso-freaking-lutely. So being flexible in life makes it so much easier. There was this really good saying, semper gumby. Okay, and it means always Gumby. And if, for all of you who don't know who Gumby is, he's this little toy that's extremely like rubbery and gummy and flexible. Always Gumby meaning always flexible. Be flexible. Being too rigid, I found out, on anything really does make things unnecessarily hard because life will not always go to plan. In fact, most of the time it won't go according to plan, period. And that's great because it's going the way you need it to for your benefit, not the way you want it to. Because sometimes what you want isn't what you need. Sometimes what you want actually is probably the worst thing for you. I've seen this time and time again where I really, really wanted something and I kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And oh my God, the higher I climbed, the harder the fall was. It sucked. Well, honestly, it was not fun. But the beautiful thing about life is that hopefully we learn from it and we get better, right? Listen to my intuition. It will always steer me in the right path, 100%. And sometimes it's not going to follow my schedule, and that's great. That's okay. Schedules don't matter at that point. My intuition is the only thing that matters. That's what I learned, at least. So hopefully you guys take that with a grain of salt. And if you experience that yourself, I would love to hear about it. So comment below and let me know. Next thing I learned is communicating that I need alone time is absolutely essential, because it's just absolutely essential. Whenever I actually just want to be alone, it's totally okay. Nobody's going to get their feelings hurt, hopefully. And it's important to let people recharge. I feel like it's very important for all of us to recharge in any form or fashion. At least for me, like I feel like I need to recharge more than most people I know, or at least like from what everybody talks about. I feel like I need to have more alone time than I'd say most people on average, just because I need to recoup from all the other energy and all the other stuff that I witnessed, and I need to process everything that's going on. So that's just my own personal thing. I've noticed that when I have my alone time when I need it, I feel recharged much better, and I feel like I can communicate better and basically be more productive and a better person to other people instead of just being on edge, if you will. Next is things will always change, and being open and adaptive to the situation makes life so much easier. So this kind of goes into Semper Gumby. Adapting to any situation is wonderful. It makes everything so much easier. And the more adaptive and flexible I feel like I have been, the much easier situations come, problems get resolved, things just seem to happen. Magic seems to happen, honestly, and it's wonderful. When you're going with the flow and you're flowing with it intentionally, everything just happens magically, I feel like. Next, listening to my body first over my ego makes life so much easier. So this goes back into intuition. And my body was really needing rest, and my intuition was screaming, dude, you need to rest. And my ego was like, no, you have to hit that PR. You have to hit that PR right now. Fast forward, I did not hit that PR. I actually started welling up at the gym and left. True story. That's exactly what happened. When I knew that morning, I was like, I need rest. I need rest. And I still went, and I still wanted to, and I ended up crying on the treadmill and going home. Yeah. Listening to my intuition telling me what I need to do, and listening to my body and listening to my intuition absolutely triumphs ego. Absolutely. My intuition knows exactly what's up. And I feel like most people's intuition will always lead them in the right direction. But that's just my opinion. All right, so next, basically same thing. If my intuition is telling me no, don't force it. Don't listen to the ego. Listen to my intuition. So basically this whole entire week, one of the biggest thing was listen to my intuition. Listen to that thing, listen to that thing, listen to that thing. It will always, always, always lead me in the right direction. 100%, no ifs, ands, or doubts about it. Listening to intuition was the biggest takeaway. And being flexible, don't be rigid with the schedule. Don't play the compare blame game, because again, it's like comparing strawberries to bananas, like when you're comparing men and women, right? Both are and I love strawberries and bananas both for different reasons, and I would not choose one over the other. I like them fairly equally, but for different reasons. So no reason to compare. Yeah. And the last one was always keep going, keep persevering, keep believing, keep persevering, keep going, keep believing. Just keep going. If you truly, truly believe in yourself and in something that you would like to aspire to, keep going. Even if the times seem tough and things seem to be going against you, but you truly inside of your core believe that this is the right path, it's more than likely, if your intuition is telling you this, it's more than likely the right path. I believe that when my intuition is telling me, hey, this is something you need to keep going, and there's going to be challenges, there's going to be troubles, there's going to be irritations, there's going to be days where you just banging your head against the wall. But if I truly believe in it, I want to do it. And I have to, one way or another, overcome any obstacle that comes my way. So those are the lessons I learned this week, and I just wanted to share because maybe it'll help some of you. And I just want to know your thoughts on if you came across anything like these and basically how you feel about it. I would like to, just like to have some communication going with you guys. See what your thoughts are. See what resonated with you. What do you guys think, and what did you guys yourself? What is one thing that every single one of you learned this past week? Comment that below. I really want to know. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much again for joining me here today. And I will see you guys in the next video.